Yo, what's up, guys? This is Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. I'm one of the HCS commentators, and we have another HCS Weekly Report where today we're going to be talking about the scrims leading up to Worlds because they've been ramping up. I'm talking about scrims every single day. However, our professional teams are deciding to hide them a little bit. They're not streaming it like they normally do. Optic used to stream every single scrim with communications on, but leading into Worlds, they've really been taking things seriously, and they're not streaming them at all. So this is where we come in. We're gonna be doing some deep dives. We did a deep dive into one of Optic's scrims already. So after we cover all of these scrims on screen, we're gonna hone in right here on Sentinels versus Faze and them tying in the scrims department. So like I said, we're gonna be doing most of this, and then we're gonna do a deep dive right here. So let's start off right off the rip. Yesterday, Optic were able to 9-2 ascend, the #1 team in Europe. Still here in America, by the way. They've actually been here since before Orlando and have decided to stay back in boot camp a bit. We're able to get 2 wins off of Optic, but we already know Optic are dominant online. The real question becomes is, can Optic continue that same energy going into LAN? They did it at Orlando, but now they got to do it when the lights are even brighter. United 11-3 over Oxygen. I'm a little surprised by that, I will say. I think Oxygen are a very good team, and I think United are great as well, but I think Oxygen should have at least been able to take, say, 5 games off of them. I would like to see them more towards the 6th realm. However, United are when they're playing at their best, it's tough to break through them. And when you're talking about Oxygen Esports playstyle being hyper aggressive and United's natural pace being slow and steady, it becomes that offense versus the defense. And apparently United's defense is simply too much for Oxygen Esports. A dominant win by them. Sentinels 8-1 over Native Gaming. I love Native Gaming, but I can't sit here and say I'm surprised that Sentinels were able to beat them and able to look dominant while doing it. Kind of similar to Oxygen. I kind of wish they were able to take maybe 3 or 4 games off of them, but Sentinels are taking things seriously. We're ramping up. We're leading right to Worlds. Worlds in like 2 weekends? It's coming up, so everyone is taking things serious. Every single game matters at this point, including Fnatic and Oxygen keeping things very close. Fnatic able to edge them out by 2 games. It's big for Fnatic. We talk about Fnatic not being in the best place for quite some time, but since they picked up the Exit Duo and Suppressed and Arctic, they've really been starting to figure it out. G2 versus Complexity. Complexity able to take 6 games off of G2. Before Barcode joined G2, I would have thought maybe Complexity could have came out with wins over them, like legitimate. I thought maybe Complexity could beat them out in scrims. Since G2 has picked up Barcode, I have really high expectations for them. Complexity look really good online, but kind of, I mean, similar to Optic, but obviously nowhere in the same realm. You know, Complexity are one of those teams where we know how good they are online. Now it's time for them to do it on LAN. And so far they've played well, but we haven't really seen them play to their full potential, because when they're playing at their full potential, looking as dominant as they do online at times, like this is a top 8, top 6 team, and we haven't yet seen that. Meanwhile, G2 were able to get up there at Orlando. So able to beat out Complexity by 1. Hopefully Complexity can keep the same energy once again going into the LAN. Optic 9-3 over G1. Optic 9-3 over G1. It's really tough for G1 because I say this often when I'm comparing G2 and E United. I think E United and G2 are built from the same cloth, except E United just do what G2 do, just better. So that's why I don't like that matchup. I'm never gonna like the G1 Optic matchup for the same exact reason. I think they're built from the same cloth. Again, it's really is about, and obviously you have the highlights in Lucid and when he's making plays, and but the same thing for G1, really, with either Booba Dooba or Dev really trading off places there, you know. But it's really about that team. It's about everybody doing that 25%. It's about that full team effort is what goes in when Optic go up against G1. And I just think I just think I think Optic do what G1 do just better. I really do. And so this is a nightmare matchup for G1, the same way that G2 and E United are a nightmare matchup for G2. If there was a G3, they'd probably be a nightmare matchup for Sentinels. I don't know what to tell you. Follow the signs. Optic 9-3. G1 are good, though. G1 are good. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. Space Station Gaming able to edge out a win over TSS. I wonder if this was actually with Pelu or it was with Nugget. So Pelu's having issues right now with visas, so Nugget's going to be filling in it once again. They were able to get a decent placing with Nugget, by the way, their coach, by the way. Good for them. And I mean, to able to take out to win out a win, or win out a win, to win out a series against the Strong Survive with your coach filling in, like I that's big for them. I don't know. I'm saying there's not many teams that can implement their coach and still be able to find the same success that Space Station Gaming has been able to find. So I think that is big. Sentinels 8-2 over Send. I'm not gonna kill a Send over it. I'm not gonna kill a Send over this because G1 will be only able to take 3 wins off Optic as well. And I think G1 and Send are phenomenal teams and really in the same, stratosphere. So I'm not gonna kill a Send over this. I don't think it'd be right. I don't know. I really would like to see them get 4 wins, but that's me nitpicking here. Send let's be honest, they had an abysmal Orlando. If there's any team that needs a huge bounce back, it's a Send. I don't know what the hell happened at Orlando. You literally. Let's just dive into it for a second. So, Ascend were already the #1 team in the EU already. They decided to drop Shady for whatever reason, and we're not going to go into details about that, and bring in Respectful. And when they brought in Respectful, it wasn't to get better for EU competition. That wasn't the reason. They literally said out of their own mouths, they wanted to make a move to perform better when it comes to North American competition, specifically on LAN. That's why you brought Respectful. So, if your only reason for bringing in Respectful, this is from their tweet longer that I read earlier. The reason for you to bring in Respectful is to perform better on LAN, and then you put in that, mind my language, that shit show. We need to see you ascend. And again, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean for no reason. I'm hard on teams that I really like and that I know have potential that I want to see do better. Like we were talking about Ascend being a pick, to upset and make it into top 6. Damn it, Dan had him in top 4. I want to see them make it through the play-in tournament at Worlds and go in and make some freaking waves. You go into Worlds and every team that's overlooking you because you didn't perform at Orlando, you make them pay. Go in with something to prove, because that's exactly what you have right now. You have something to prove. Cloud9 versus G1, a 6-5 win in favor of Cloud9. Almost the opposite. Almost the opposite of Optic, where Optic are always dominant online, and then we wanted to see them do well on LAN. Same with Complexity. Cloud9 is different. Like Cloud9, they don't take online scrims seriously. This is my opinion. From what I've noticed, in the past they have not taken online scrims seriously. They barely do it. On this page alone in the last 3 days, we see Optic 3 times, we see Cloud9 once. They're not scrimming as much. Same with Sentinels. You see Sentinels 3 times. We see Cloud9 once, and I think even Renegade, when leaving the team, he kind of alluded to them not really practicing. They're not even taking the practicing serious. Cloud9 are different. It almost like Allen. Remember Allen Iverson? Practice? We talking about practice? Not the tournament. We talking about practice. Cloud9 able to 6-5 G1. Looks like now they're taking things seriously when they are going into the scrims. I mean, they're going up against G1, who are a dominant team online as well, and able to come out with the win on that one, where previously G1 were able to edge them out a few times. Gonna be excited to see if these two teams match up. Complexity 4-2 over Space Station Gaming, a 6-game scrim. I'm not really gonna put too much into it. And again, same thing with Complexity. I don't give a damn what you do online. I don't. I'm sorry. Every time I look at Complexity Optic online, I see a big win. I see a big scrim. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm not even like I'm literally not even joking. When I see Cloud9 and G1 going at it, I'm like, wow. It's a good win. I'm impressed. When I'm seeing Sentinels and Ascend going at it, Sentinels look dominant, I'm like, wow, that's impressed. Anything I see out of Optic and Complexity, I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I just move on. Because I don't care. Like, I legitimately, like, I legitimately don't care. Complexity can win a scrim by 13, lose a scrim by 18. They can hack into somebody's computer. I literally don't care whatever they do online. I literally don't care. Just go to land, bro. Just do it. I'm sorry. Ascend able to 8-3 over Native Gaming Red. I think that's a big win. I actually think this is gonna get overlooked, but I think this is a big win for Ascend to get back on track. I think Native Gaming Red are a great team. They're the gatekeepers. If you want to go up against some of the best, if you want to make it into that top 4 category, you got to go through Native Gaming Red. There's almost no path that leads into top 4 that doesn't involve you making it through Native Gaming Red. And Ascend able to get a huge win on that. I think it's big. We'll talk about this a little bit later. Optic 12 over Forbidden Fruit. It's always tough when you see a goose egg in the wins department. Same with Fnatic goosing against G1. But we're just talking about levels of competition, and we love, and by the way, this is Team War now. We love Team War. We love Team War in this house. In fact, if you guys ever in my stream, type in !list, Envor was on top of the only list that truly matters. When you guys think of top HCS players in in the categories that matter, when you're in my stream, type in !list. Click on that list. Envor is number 1. And it's the only list that matters. G1 9-0 over Fnatic. I love that G1 squad. Love the organization. Love the players. I've known Swish for a very long time. And I've always just been impressed with his work ethic. Willing to always put in the work. That film review, the grinding. Like Swish is cut from a different cloth. Love Devonator. Tough. Damn good. Nobody talks about him on this squad, which is confusing as hell to me. Boo Boo Doo on his revenge tour, dropped from that Faze roster. Out of his mouth said the best roster he would have been a part of. I love G1. Squad and Squale with his high accuracy self. Man, the man stays shooting in the high 60%, the 70%. It's ridiculous. Finally, G1 able to 9-3 Native Gaming Red. I think a while ago I would have been surprised by this. Now, I mean, G1 are good. Native Gaming Red are still trying to figure it out. We'll see what they do on land. Simple as that. How many times do we see a freaking tie? not many times do we see a tie in Scrim. Sentinels and Faze, 2 teams that are contending to win a world championship. I don't know exactly how much money's on the line. I'm sure it's a crap ton. Probably at least $1 million. At least $1 million on the line. I can imagine. Let's go. Let's take a deep dive into this. We'll start with the kills. Renegade 240 leading the Slays department. Not surprised there. King Nick leading the assist department. I'm actually surprised. Normally Falcated would be up there. Even Sparty. King Nick edging out Sparty by a few assists. Highest damage obviously done to Renegade. Very close between King Nick and Falcated, and Sparty's not that far behind. what I'm interested in seeing is who was the main objective player, because even though Sparty has 68,000, almost 69,000, nice damage, if he's the main objective player, I find that to be very impressive. 69,000 damage as the main objective. And whoever was the main objective player for this team doing this amount of damage, I'm actually really impressed by. 275 kills for Frosty, nasty, most assists as well. 80,000 damage. Right behind him is Royal 2. Royal 2 and Frosty, they trade out that main Slayer role time and time again. Frosty co-IGLing a bit, but most of the time it's Snakebite, the general, being that main IGL, and Lethal a bit behind in the damage department, but we already know that Lethal's always that player who's responsible for the objective time, and then on top of that, he's usually manning rotations and really playing more of a bigger brain, a macro play, if you will. This is what Lethal normally excels at. Barely winning out in Capture the Flag Bazaar was Faze. A decent win in Streets on Oddball. Dominant win by Faze in Strongholds Recharge. They love Strongholds Recharge. We've actually seen dominant wins by Faze multiple times against some of the best teams. Big ups to them. Fairly close game. Live Fire Slayer. 2-1. That's a slow ass hill game on Recharge. I like to watch this. Faze barely winning out on Street Slayer. Oh my gosh. What? Bro, wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. What? Bro. 250 to 18. At one point, Faze must have just put the damn controller down. Pretty decent win. Only a one cap win on Catalyst, Capture the Flag. I'm actually surprised. Sentinels hate Catalyst. I'm actually surprised. Faze have been able to get some decent wins on Catalyst. I'm still, what the freak? Decent win. Strongholds Live Fire. Decent win. All right, we're fairly close to cap win. And then fairly a close oddball. Okay, so I mean, this is a competitive series right now. Low key, I almost want to go back and watch the VODs. This is I don't know, no Twitch VODs, but I'm gonna find these games. This is very competitive. Power weapon kills heavily in favor of Sentinels. Faze better be careful, especially on land. Power weapons matter even more on land than they do online. Let's go into actual game stats here. I want to see who's leading out. So leading Slayer Falcated, leading Slayer Frosty. I want to see who's running that objective time. 61 grabs out of Snakebite. Wow, really getting in there in the flags. Really getting in there. Sheesh. 7 steals from the base. A bunch of secures as well. Sparty was being that main objective player. I had a feeling. 5 caps, 56 grabs. I was having a feeling that Sparty was being that main objective player, at least in the flag department. Let's see about a bit of... We'll see King of the Hill, but it's tough because King of the Hill, this site doesn't like King of the Hill. It never shows objective stats, but we can still see in the Slays department. Renegade once again slaying out. Roll to a stake by trading out that slaying roll. 12 assists as well, going in favor of roll 2. I'm really interested in oddball. When you're holding on to that oddball, you're not completely out of the play, but you're fairly out of the play. 69 kills, nice. Nice little balanced attack. I like that. I'm assuming King Nick with his low kills probably had the most ball time. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, he was definitely behind, he was definitely far behind on the slay, so it makes sense that he was the main objective player. 79 kills out of Frosty. I'm assuming Lethal. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Again, Stronghold's a little bit tough. We don't have the objective time, but we can still see that Renegade was slaying out with 40 kills. We can see Frosty and Royal 2 once again really being the main slayers. I'm going to assume either... actually, Falcon had 27 kills and 22 assists. I'm going to assume that King Nick once again was the main player in the hill with a secondary of Spartan. That's normally how it is. You know, King Nick and Sparty trade out that role. Meanwhile, Falcon and Renegade kind of roam around loose and just go off in the Slays department. this was a series to watch. I really wish somebody was streaming this one. Tied up at 7 apiece. Both of these teams leaving it all on the line, and when this goes to land, it's gonna be exciting watching Sentinels versus Faze. I can promise. I feel it in my loins that this matchup is gonna play out on land at Worlds, and we're gonna see these two teams leave it all on the line. Guys, this is Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting, one of the HCS commentators, and this was another HCS Weekly Report. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube, drop into the Twitch, follow on TikTok, and use code GFuel. Use code YNOT for all your G Fuel needs. I'll see you again next time. Peace out.